So today we're going to talk about Valorant's economy and how the economy might be broken because of a certain gun. But let's start off with a bit of context, okay? So we're going to be talking about pistol rounds and the second round and what you do in that second round if you lose the pistol round. So here's an example for you of Leviathan versus Loud at Valorant Champs. And what's going to happen here is we're in a 3v3 retake and the spike has gone down, okay? So Leviathan are on the attack, Loud are on the defense, the spike is down, we're in a 3v3, and what's going to happen as we play it forward is Loud are going to put up that nice little sage wall there, blocking off the line of sight, and Loud are going to manage to win this round, and, they're going to manage to defuse the spike just there, and so Loud win the round, right? But what we're interested in is not this first round, but actually the second round, because what's going to happen here, as you will see as we play this forward, is that as we come to the buy for Leviathan, you're going to see that they have decided to force buy, okay? A force buy is when you lose the pistol round, but you decide to try and compete for that second round. Now, often the second round in the half is the easiest round to win because whoever wins the pistol round will normally have the guns, like Loud does here. But the team that lost normally just keeps pistols, right? And they don't really try and win that round. They try and, play for the next round going on, right? But you can, if you want to, decide to force and try and win that second round. But really, this is only possible if you get that spike down, because if you plant the spike, everyone on your team gets 300 credits, okay? And that obviously is only available to the attackers. Only the attackers can plant the spike. So you kind of have to be on the attacking side. You have to plant the spike, and then you get 200 credits for a kill as well, whoever gets that kill. So, potentially a couple kills mixed in there as well, and then you can go for this kind of force buy. And the general kind of force buy in the past has been to buy these Specter and light shields, right? And maybe you have a bit of util here. That's kind of the normal sort of force buy. You can see we've got one stinger in here as well. And actually Taco is going to play with full shields and the chamber headhunter as well. But that's kind of generally what a normal force buy would look in these second rounds when you lost the pistol, but you planted the spike. But things are changing because we're going to take a look today at 100 Thieves, because here is their example of what they are going to do. They've lost the pistol round. As you can see, it's 1-0 to Foot here, but they are going to force. They did plant the spike in that pistol round, so they get the 300 extra credits, but they are going to force, but they aren't going to buy Specters. They're going to buy Stingers and full shields, and they can also go and buy Stingers, full shields, and full util for pretty much all of their team as well, right? So they have, these Stingers, and they have full shields instead of light shields, and they have full util pretty much as well. And what's going to happen is we'll run this round forward. We'll just run it forward a bit quicker because it does take a bit of time to develop. But eventually what's going to happen here is the 100 Thieves are going to come towards A. They're going to send a drone just down here. You can see it just there. It spots the breach. They're pushing back, and they're going to come to this A site, as you will see. And then on this A site, they are going to come and they are going to absolutely destroy Foot on the site. As you can see, they're just coming in just now. They're getting onto the site, and with these Stingers close up, they manage to absolutely destroy Foot, and they will go on to win this round ultimately. And then the advantage of this is if you win the second round, then it's actually your opponents who will normally be down to pistols, as they get only the first loss bonus, which is 1,900. You get the 3,000. You potentially have picked up their guns as well, right, which are a bit better than the Stinger is potentially, and you can go from there, and now the kind of ascendancy is with you. And that is really what we are talking about today, because the Stinger only costs 950 credits versus something like the Specter, which costs 1,600. That is a massive difference, and that difference allows us to go from light shields to heavy shields, or still be able to afford completely full util no matter what agent we are playing. And that is the crucial difference, that for only 950 credits, in the eyes of teams like 100 Thieves, you can buy a gun that is pretty much as good as a Specter, and you can get full shields, right? And on these second rounds, that force buy is incredibly powerful. But actually, it goes a bit further than just that, because I've been, giving you kind of the normal scenario so far when, you decide to force after you plant the spike as the attackers, but 100 Thieves took it even further than that, okay? Because here's round 13. So the pistol round here on this game of Fracture versus C9. 100 Thieves are on the attacking side. But if we take a look at the map, you'll see that our spike carrier here is going to die. And then very quickly after, Asena's going to die as well. And 100 Thieves are going to lose the round without planting the spike. But guess what happens? Because they do not care. So they don't have that extra credit bonus. They, don't have that 300 credits for planting the spike. But guess what's going to happen? Because the Stinger is so cheap that they are going to decide to force anyway, right? And they are actually going to lose this round. Obviously, this is never going to be a 100% success rate. They are going to lose this round, but this is something that they were consistently doing, right? Doesn't matter if they've planted the spike or not. They are going to go for this Stinger buy, right? You see the Aston has even gone for Stinger full shields in this instance as well. They are going to go for this and go for this second round, whether they planted the spike or not. And that is a massive difference compared to, what other teams are doing. And it's not like this game is out of hand in any kind of way, right? It's 7-6. This game is right in the balance, right? This is like a really crucial scenario. It's not like 100 Thieves have to win this next round, right? It's not like it's 12-1 or 12-2 and you literally have to win. No, that's not the case. It's 7-6. They can afford to lose this round and then save the buy for the next. But instead, they are going for the Stinger buy. But my friends, it goes even further than that, because this is something that I legitimately cannot remember seeing. Maybe it has happened, I'm sure it's happened a handful of times, but legitimately you might be able to count this on your hands how many times this has happened, because earlier on in that Fracture game, the score was 1-0 to C9. C9 won the first pistol round. 100 Thieves are on the defensive side, so there is no way they can plant the spike and get that extra spike plant money, right? That just isn't a possibility for them. But you can see they are still going for the force. And I mean, even look at some of the buys. It's really quite good. Bang has a Stinger, full shields, and he's only missing one Shrouded Step out of his utility. But he has the 2 smokes and Paranoia, which is Omen's best bit of utility. This is a really, really good buy on this second round on the defensive side. And I really mean this. The defensive-sided force, you really, really don't see that often at all. And so let's see what happens. Let's guess what happens in this second round, because C9, this should be a free round. This often is a free round for the attackers. And often you will see people, take fights that they otherwise wouldn't, right? They'll play more risky because normally they're just up against pistols, right? So, I mean, you'll see here from C9, they've got 2 people across the map. They start putting the smokes down like, yeah, we're just going to exec onto the site with 2 people here because we're against pistols. And so it should be easy, right? No, because what happens, as you can see, is Bang sends out his Paranoia and Vanity is going to die. And all of a sudden, you're in a 5v4. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh my. And these Stingers and Bang in particular in Heaven, I pointed him out before with his goodbye. You're going to see he's going to start dominating in that Heaven area as 100 Thieves come and push through A main as well. And they have, plenty of util to use also, right? It's going to be a massive, massive problem. And I do seriously mean this. I can't remember a team doing this, 1-0 down. It's not like the game is on the line and they decide to force with the Stingers. And this genuinely might be a bit of a problem, because if the win rate is high enough of these second rounds where you force Stingers, that kind of changes the game, right? Because this isn't how I think the game was designed. The idea is that second round is pretty easy to win for whoever wins the pistol rounds, right? The pistol rounds do matter quite a bit because that second round is often a free one. But if this is going to be the case going forward, this kind of monumentally changes how important that second round is if you can force no matter what and still feel like you have a pretty good chance. Because you will see, for instance, right, there are teams, and C9 do it in this one as well, right, where Vanity only has a ghost, right? He's actually buying a rifle for Ye, on purpose. So he's basically sacrificing his buy to make sure that Ye can go and get himself a rifle here. And so Vanity only has a pistol. And this is a very common thing for pro teams to do as well. But if you are going up against forces on this second round, no matter what, this will change. You can't do that, right? You have to play safer. You have to play with full shields and probably Specters and full util and treat it like more of a 50-50 round, which is, kind of a big deal, to be honest. And maybe this is something that honestly the devs might want to look at and, either change the Stinger or change the price of the Stinger maybe, so that, you can't get away with this crazy buy. Because if this does become the norm, it does kind of fundamentally change how Valorant is played on these second rounds.